Good morning, Honorable Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Chibuike, Rotimi Amaechi, our members of the Presidential Communication Team, led by Special Advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, other members of the PCT, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. A key thrust of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration is the provision of basic infrastructure for the Nigerian populace. Central to this is the provision of transportation infrastructure across all nooks and crannies of the country. The recent strides in the rail sector in Nigeria have led to the term rail revolution. The Presidential Communication Team, in the 13th episode of its special briefings, today has invited the face behind that rail revolution, Right Honorable Chibuike, Rotimi Amaechi, the Honorable Minister of Transportation, to give an outline of all the rail projects going on in the country. He will also brief about the current projects, completed ones, and areas of collaboration between the ministry and state governments targeted at ensuring the timely completion of the projects. He will also talk to us about the challenges he's experienced so far and solutions being preferred to ensure completion of the projects in the transportation sector in record time. So now it's my privilege to invite the Honorable Minister to this podium, as usual, to brief for about 20-25 minutes, after which he will also take questions from representatives of local and international press here this morning. Honorable Minister.
There are two ways. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Special Advisor to the President on Press and Special Assistant to the President. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways to go. I can read you the speech, or you want me to speak extempore. Which of them? Okay. You know, I told the young lady when she came to my office, she said, I'm here to prepare you. And I said, prepare me. And I said, prepare me on what? My ministry. I thought I should be able to tell you about my ministry without having to even write it down. I will start with what's going to happen in, I don't know whether I should reveal the date or wait for the villa. But in the next 2 weeks, we should be, 1 week plus, we should be launching and commencing immediately the construction of Kano-Kaduna Rail. The President will be launching it, and then we will commence construction immediately. The reason why we're commencing construction immediately is that all the necessary contracts have been awarded. We've been waiting for the loan for too long now from China, and the money has not come. So we decided to fund it from the budget. We already paid about $218 million to them, and we're about to pay them another $100 million. So that will be about $318 million. And look at that, is about $1.2 billion. The moment you pay about $318 million, you must have paid that at one third of the project. So we believe that by the time we get the loan, we should, from the budget, have funded up to $600 million, between $500 and $600 million. So that should be able to take the project nearly halfway before the funds will come. Because if we continue to wait for the loan, whether from China or Europe, we may likely not complete it before we go. So I made a decision, as the minister is in charge, and reported to the President that I will commence construction with our own funds, and pending when the loan will fall through. We are also continuing the negotiation we've concluded the negotiation actually. We're just waiting for the Chinese the banks to approve the loan from Ibadan to Kano. But since they've not approved it, we want to commence construction from the Kano axis to Kaduna. You are aware we finished, even though I'm still going to go on inspection next week Friday, we finished the Lagos-Ibadan as running. But there are very minor things that I want to go and look at to make sure that those things have been put in place. Because they were putting those things in place when they ran into a little crisis. So I'll go on Friday to make sure it's put in place so that all those small stations can be put to use We are currently using the Abeokuta station, we are using the Ibadan station, and we are also using the Ebute Metta station. I should be able to tell you this. We'll soon stop rail activities from Ebute Metta to Apapa. Reason why we'll stop it. At the end of construction, believe me, we have finished, just about the time to commission. We discovered that there was a place that they used to dump refuse on that track. And if you leave it, it was in the next 1 year to begin to sink. So we saw it and we said, look, swallow your shame, bite your bullet now, than to wait for after 1 year. We could do it, wait until we have gone, and then somebody would say it was a bad job. So we said, no, stop, don't carry any cargo. Take off the track, excavate 10 meters, remove all the refuse, 10 meters down, remove it, and replace the soil, and then put back the track. That would be done we are given 2, 3, 4 months to do all that. That would be a decision I will convey to them, because they came back to me and said, make that decision, because it's political. Political in the sense that people will start shouting, oh, you're not carrying cargoes from, after commission, you're not carrying cargoes from the seaport, when actually you have gotten into the seaport. I think I had to make, it was a very difficult decision to make, but I had to make that decision that we must stop now and remove the soil, the refuse dump, replace it with the soil, and replace the track, and before we commence the conveyance of conveying the cargo from Papa to Ebute Metta and then to Ibadan. There were 2 ways to go about it. The first way is to keep quiet. You wouldn't know. Whether we're carrying cargo or not, it's nobody's business. And when we complete the job. But I believe in being transparent. I believe in coming out with the truth. So the truth is that by Friday, I'll convey to the contractor our decision that they should stop rail activities from Apapa to Ebute Metta until they have excavated the refuse dump that we discovered, and then replace it with soil. So for Lagos Ibadan, everything is okay. I've also told the press that why we're not running 16 trains per day is because, those of you who know about communication and signaling, you have completed it, but you continue to test it for 6 months. Because if you put all the 16 trains and anything malfunctions on the signaling and communication, there could be an accident. And you know our Lagos people, now they are celebrating you. If an accident happens, the way they will abuse you, think you never even constructed the rail at all. So what we agreed again is to gradually increase the number of trains that can run. As we test the signaling equipment, so are we going to do the increase? Most people didn't know that we did the same thing in Kaduna Abuja. It was a gradual process. As signal was improving, we were increasing the number of trains were put on the track. But why we had to come out to make it public is Lagos. If Lagos will wait after 1 month, you are still running 4 trains, 2 months, you're still running for 3 months, they will start criticizing you. So it's important they know that the first 2, 3 months will be 4 trains. Maybe before the 6th month, we'll have gone to 10 to 16. So 16 trains for the public to use. That's Lagos. Kaduna, Abuja, no problem. Again, we are coming out transparently. Kaduna, Abuja is running. We're doing nearly about 460,000 passengers in a year. We could do better, we could do more, but we're doing about 460,000 passengers in a year. What was the problem last week? We ran from 2016 till now. We've not bought spare parts. In fact, they don't call it, okay, they call it spare parts, but rolling stock. We need to replace the rolling stock. So the one heading to Kaduna, or was it coming from Kaduna, broke down. And then it dawned on us that we've not bought rolling stocks. What have we done? Even before it broke down, we had applied to the president to allow us to buy rolling stock for the whole country. And he had approved. But you know the process. To complete the process is going to take us 6 months. That's where we are. But it has not even left our office. The due process documents have not left our office. Much more go to BPP. So it's important to know that from time to time we may be having problems, even though we've decided that we will go to Lagos and take some of the spare parts in Lagos to fix to fix the trains and the locomotives and coaches that have spare part problems in Kaduna, Abuja. Those ones will be fixed with these spare parts. In fact, they are freighting this. There's a spare part they are freighting to fix the one that broke down recently. So we'll be managing the spare parts we have now. The one meant for Lagos, we'll manage it until we're able to stock again. And like I said, the president has approved. We're doing the due process. After the process, we'll go to cabinet, and then we'll look for the money to buy the spare parts. So in case we'll assure you that we won't let any further breakdown. But we're human beings. But in case it happens, just know that it's the issue of spare parts. We've tried 2016 till now. Spare parts should finish. It's not a thing. It's like they are called consumables, not things that you just once you put it in the train, it will stay there forever. If you exhaust, we'll have to replace them. We are due for replacement. We applied to the president. He has approved. But unfortunately, one broke down before we could get in the spare parts. What else in the railway? We have finished everything we need to do about Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. The only problem we have with Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, and they have cancelled it yesterday, is the due process for the procurement of engineers, consulting engineers. I think in a bid to satisfy Nigerians who are harassing us, must it be team, must it be foreigners, we now said, okay, Nigerians would apply. Nigerians who are applying don't have the required expertise, so they have to get a JV. That's what we're looking for. So when we say you must have 5 years experience, and must show us that you have had the contract for which you have called. When we say 5 years experience, it's not working. It's, I have done contract for 5 years in this area of railway construction. Nigerian company now. So they went and brought JV, joint partners. Now, what I refer that to is commission agent. So I can come to you, China, if you're a Chinese company, you know how to construct railway, say yes. You can supervise, you say yes, come and supervise. Then I'll apply as my name. You have not met our requirement, have you? You have not. We said 5 years. So because that happened, due process, public procurement cancelled it yesterday, and we want to start afresh. That means another 6 months of delay for us to start the construction of Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. You must know I'm from Port Harcourt, so I'm also as worried as everybody is. I had believed that we should start and finish before we leave in the construction of the Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. But again, the law is the law. So due process, it was a very sad news when the permanent secretary told me that after her meeting with public procurement, they told her they have cancelled the contract. We are going to be brutal this time. The Nigerian engineers can criticize us as much as they want to criticize us. It's not about Nigerians, it's about delivery. So we will say, back to advertisement, if you have 5 years experience, not as an engineer working, but as somebody who has done that job, right? You are qualified. So if Nigerians don't qualify, it's unfortunate. Because if you see, we are trying to do it to get Nigerians in, but unfortunately, the law is the law. So if you say, I have 5 years experience, it must be team, because team supervised Itabewari even before we came, right? Team supervised Lagos Ibadan. Team supervised Kaduna Abuja. So which Nigerian company has supervised any railway construction? So we're likely going to go back to where we may not qualify. When I say we, I mean we Nigerians. Because the problem with railway is that when the accident happens, that's why I say to Nigerians that if I were to be a lawmaker, I would be recommending manslaughter charge against those who deal with vandalization of the rail tracks. The reason is that it takes about 800 meters for a locomotive to stop. As it's running now, it's running with speed. The moment it wants to stop, the driver will apply brake here, and you take 800 meters to stop. So how will a driver know that you have removed, vandalized a track 800 meters away? He will not know until he gets to the track. So when he gets to the track, what happens? He applies brake, right? He needs 800 meters to stop. So once he gets to that track that has been vandalized, he will derail. Once he derails, what happens? Some people may die. And each coach takes 85, is it 85? Yeah. Yeah, 85 persons, each coach. Yeah, 85 persons. So what happens? You would have killed, and sometimes there are about 14, 20 coaches. So imagine how many persons that would die as a result of that derailment, just because one selfish Nigerian is trying to steal tracks to make money. I think, like other countries, I'm not saying they should be killed because it's poverty. But I'm saying they should be charged for manslaughter because people could die. Okay, but again, they will ask you, manslaughter means that somebody died. But if anybody dies, then they should be charged for manslaughter. If nobody dies, then they should be charged for stealing or something. That's my view. And I say that because when they were stealing the narrow gauge, the one from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, I wasn't too worried because I know that whether we like it or not, we'll replace it. That's the contract. But they moved from stealing narrow gauge, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, to stealing narrow gauge, Lagos, Kano. Again, we are looking for possible companies that could, under PPP, take over that. And if they take it over, they will remove the old track and replace it with new ones. So I wasn't, but when they now move to Itabewari, which is now standard gauge, brand new tracks, then it becomes dangerous. Because a poor man from Warri who is going to Itabe by a 6 o'clock train would not know that his train will derail because somebody has already gone trying to cut off the track. That is dangerous. And I think that the solution is exactly what the government is doing now about insecurity. You see, I have to say that if you enforce the law, Nigerians will obey. Now you're feeling a bit of security, are you not? You can drive around. You feel a bit secure, more than before. It's because government has shown, look, this joke has to stop. And the joke has to stop, is it not? That's what Nigerians like to hear. That's the way I govern River State. Brook no nonsense. Let the person know there is a law, and that as the governor, who has been elected as governor of River State, I will enforce the law. So if the law means to shoot my brother, I will shoot him. That's what the law says. Since you saw security agencies enforcing the law, everybody is now behaving that. So the same way, if we enforce the law on vandalization of tracks, it will stop. And I've asked the MD of Railway, where is the Railway police? He said they're not enough. So I'm going to see the IG, give us enough men and materials so that we can use them to police the tracks. Because having moved from narrow gauge to standard gauge, it becomes a national. I'm not saying the other ones are not a national security issue, but narrow gauge, we had it maybe once a week or twice a week. But this one is a daily thing. Sometimes 3 to 4 trips, 5, 6 trips a day. And the poor guys who are enjoying air conditioned, enjoying themselves, some of them will have slept off. Suddenly there's a derailment which may lead to death. That I don't encourage. I have discussed Itabewari, which is running. People are picking passengers. Somebody made an analysis in the press that to fly from Warri or Benin to Abuja is about 60,000 naira, right? To come by road is about 20, but to get to Abuja by train is 6,000 naira, which is cheaper. 2,500 from Warri to Itabe. There's a bus or taxi waiting for you. You join the taxi at 3,500. It brings you to Abuja. 2,500 plus 3,500. How much is that? 6,000. So anybody who says Buhari is not putting money in your pocket, ask him that question. That if you had paid 60,000 naira by flight, remove 6,000 for 60,000, how much is that? 54. You're a rich man. Buhari has given you 54,000 naira. He won't agree. Okay, if you're not those who are flying, you're those who use night bus or whatever. First, you're not a catering security problem because in our rail. But if you go by that night bus, nobody knows who can wait for you around Lokoja and collect your bag from you. Now, you're paid 20,000, right? So if you remove 6,000 from 20,000, Buhari has given you how much? 14,000 naira. What they call, it's not fighting poverty. It's if you put sand in his pocket and put money in your pocket. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to save you from those expenditures you make that government can bear on your behalf. I've discussed Port Harcourt Maiduguri. I said we're ready to go, but unfortunately, we have a due process problem with the issue of supervising engineers, and nobody can work until the supervising engineer signs off on your drawing. So it affects Kano-Maradi. We are ready to go with Kano-Maradi. In fact, they sent me photographs of people who are doing some survey work and doing some soil analysis and all that. But that's the much they can do. They can't do more than that until a supervising engineer comes and says, you can go. I approve these drawings. I approve this. So we're also stuck in Itabewari. We won't be stuck in Kano-Kaduna because the due process has been approved a long time for a team to supervise Kano-Kaduna. But we are stuck Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. We'll be stuck Kano, Maradi. So we need to really hurry. I don't know how we can hurry, but we need to really hurry to get the supervising engineers. That's rail. What else? Where are we? Well, we've talked about Kano, Maradi. We've talked about Kano-Kaduna. We've talked about Lagos, Ibadan. We've talked about Ibadan to Abuja, which is one I say we're waiting for funds from China. But I'm not willing to wait for Kano-Kaduna because I can raise the money in my budget, and I've already commenced funding the money for my budget. I hope that next year budget they will be able to give another 200 billion naira to pay them, which will get me close to between 300 to 400 or $500 million. In that case, I've got nearly half of the cost of the contract. We can borrow the rest to complete that. Currently, we are funding Port Harcourt Maiduguri from the budget too. We've paid them, may not be up to $100 million, but if we release some more money to them before December, it should be able to get to up to $100 million. And then the contract is $3.020 billion for now, because we've not included Oka and Abakaliki, but they'll be included. They are doing the studies. I will write to the president, and I go to cabinet for approval. They will I will include it. But I don't know the cost for now. The cost that I know is Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Port Harcourt to Maiduguri includes from Port Harcourt to Owerri. And it's good to be a minister for transport. There's no way you go to Owerri without passing through my village. So the rail passed through my village to Owerri. You're laughing. If you think I did it, you won't believe it. When we said we'll go to Owerri, they took off from Eledewa. If you take off from Eledewa, you get to Rima. If you take off from Oyibo, you get to Rima. Because to get to Owerri, the last village between Imo State and River State is Omerelu. And Omerelu borders where? Ubima. So there's nothing you will do. Unless you want to go from Abia, in which case it's not possible. You will be coming from Aba back again to Owerri. The closest route to Owerri from Port Harcourt is you must pass through. I'm saying that because tomorrow you say, Minister, no, it's not nepotism. Nepotism about your brother. What do you call it when you favor your village? Okay, so that with railway. So let's deal with seaport. I don't know, you people are present. I don't know if there's any railway we've left behind. Okay, so it means I'm not too old. I still can remember things. Then let's deal with seaport. If you see the seaport, but okay, coastal rail. So you people are as old as I am, you are getting coastal rail. Coastal rail too, we're ready to go. The problem is the same thing as, but we've not funded it, even though we're negotiating loan. All these projects we're negotiating the loans. The only ones that I'm pushing are the ones that I'm saying, look, I can fund from my budget. So once they pay me, I pay the contractor. Once they pay me, pay the contractors. But I've not funded coastal rail from the budget. It may be funded, may likely be funded 100% from the, what's it called? From the loans. So we're negotiating the loan. But even if they approve the loan today, we can't proceed until we finish with the supervising engineers. So we finish with rail. Now, the problem with, that was my argument about coastal rail. I said, we don't necessarily have to go to Lagos. The reason why all other alignments are going to Lagos is because of the seaport. Now, out of the 6 seaports in Nigeria, 4 are found in the coastal area. So do you need Lagos? Because there's the Port Harcourt seaport, there's the Onne seaport, there's the Warri seaport, and there's the Calabar seaport. So you don't need to go to Lagos. So if we need to save money, for now, we don't need to do from Akure to Lagos. We can take Akure to Benin, Benin to Warri, Benin to Asaba, and then Warri to Bayelsa, that's Yenagoa to Port Harcourt. It was a very poor decision for us, for me in particular, to go to Aba when the Port Harcourt Maiduguri is also going to Aba. But what I meant is Port Harcourt to Aba, Aba to Uyo to Calabar. That's the coastal rail. The Port Harcourt Maiduguri is the one that has about nearly 12 to 13 states. It starts with Port Harcourt, which is rivers, Abia, Aba, Owerri, Imo, Umuahia is still Aba. Enugu, which is Enugu State. He goes to Oka, which is Anambra. He goes to Ebonyi, which is Abakaliki. Then he goes to Makurdi, which is Benue. He goes to Lafia, which is Nasarawa. He goes to Jos, which is Plateau. Then from Jos, he goes to Kafanchan to Kaduna, which is Kaduna State, right? Then he goes to Bauchi, which is Bauchi State. He goes to Gombe, which is Gombe. And then he goes to Damaturu, which is Yobe. And then goes to Maiduguri, which is about 12, 13 states. The rest, there's no other track. The Western Line has about 7. This was about 12, between 12 and 13 states. So even the coastal states, the coastal rail, is only the 6 coastal states and Akure, which is Ondo, so 7. So the longest in terms of taking in communities and states is the Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, but it doesn't carry the highest volume of tonnage of cargoes. That comes from Port Harcourt, Lagos to Kano. So the most viable rail is Lagos to Kano, followed by Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. We've not done a full study of Lagos to Calabar. We need to do that to be able to know maybe the volume of wet cargoes in terms of crude oil and petrol may inform the viability, economic viability of that. Now, in terms of the seaport, the president approved the construction of the Bonny seaport, but we funded as PPP. We're not putting one kobo. The Chinese company that is doing Port Harcourt Maiduguri will have to empty. That's one good thing about Port Harcourt Maiduguri. It doesn't actually start from Port Harcourt. It starts from Bonny. So with the seaport in Bonny, from Bonny it comes to Port Harcourt. Now, then from Port Harcourt, we've not made a decision whether it's Oyibo that we'll take off from or we'll take off from LA1. Either way, it goes to Were. Then Port Harcourt then goes all that way. So the seaport around that area will be covered. The Lagos Calabar will terminate at Calabar Seaport, will tee off to Warri Seaport. Even the Itabe Warri will tee off to the new seaport we're building in Warri. So there's a new deep seaport that will have to be built in Warri when we do the central line. The central line is Warri up to Abuja, linking the western line. The western line is linked at 2 places. No, the western line is linked at Kafanchan with the eastern line. Now the coastal line is linked to the central line at Warri. Then the coastal line is also linked to the eastern line at Aba. So you see, what we've done is to connect Nigeria. You can wake up from here, from Port Harcourt, and say, look, I'm going to Sokoto. Now, if you enter the train in Port Harcourt, it will take you up to, okay, Sokoto is yet off. We're yet to connect Sokoto. Let's say Kaduna. So it takes you off from Port Harcourt, lands you at Kafanchan. Kafanchan, 2 things will happen. If it's a train that is meant to go to Kaduna, when it gets to Kafanchan, it will change its bogie from a narrow gauge bogie to a standard gauge bogie. You in your train, you will know that they have moved from the normal distance from your normal narrow gauge bogie to a standard gauge bogie, because if you're running on a standard gauge track, then it takes you to Kaduna. What's the most important is that now Nigeria will be connected. You can go from anywhere. You can leave Calabar and arrive in Abuja by just coming from Calabar to Warri. You join the Itabe. Itabe is also terminated at Abuja. The contract is awarded, but fund is an issue. So it takes you to Warri. Warri takes you, I hope, if we don't finish the next comment, we'll finish it. Takes you from Itabe to Abuja. You can wake up from Abuja and say, I want to go to Lagos. Well, you can follow the Lagos line. I've told you how it is connected. Now, in terms of seaports, there are 3 basic seaports that this government intends to start. I don't know if we'll finish it. The one we are going to finish, whether they like it or not, is the Lekki Deep Seaport, right? And that will be the first seaport in Nigeria. I've had this argument with Fashola. He says Lagos, Apapa is the seaport. Apapa is not the seaport, Apapa is the river port. Tinker is the river port. It is off the ocean. A seaport is a port found on the sea. But look at all our ports. They all tee off the ocean. The One Seaport, which is about the deepest, tees off from the Bonny, they call it Bonny River, not even the ocean. It's at Bonny you get the ocean. That's why we're saying Bonny Deep Sea Port. That's why we're saying we're having a problem with Warri, because to get a Warri Deep Sea Port, which was what we approved, you have to reclaim close to 32 kilometers into the water. And that's huge amount of money. So that's when we're having. Another deep sea port that's coming on is the Akwa Ibom one, because it's just sitting right there in the water, not a river. So what the government has done is the president has approved the construction of Lekki Deep Sea Port, and like I told you, we'll finish it 2022. Then he also approved the Bonny Deep Sea Port, which will commence as soon as we commence the construction of the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri Rail Line. Because that's the agreement. The agreement is contractor, we pay you for Port Harcourt to Maiduguri construction, you fund the construction of the deep sea port, and you manage it for I don't know how many years, but cabinet has approved the number of years that he will manage it. Then Warri Deep Sea Port is the same thing that the agreement between us and the contractor who will do from Itape to Abuja, passing through Lokoja, Baro to Abuja. And then where we terminated currently at Warri, he takes it from there to the Warri Deep Sea Port if we can get up to the sea. Which other seaport? Well, the one for Akwa Ibom is with Akwa Ibom State government. We just give them a franchise or an approval to go ahead and construct. I think they have, from what we gave them, we have a company. I don't know whether it's a French company that's in partnership with them. So these are I've named how many seaports? 4. I've named 4 seaports. My ministry, okay, there's the very little element of my ministry that most people don't know about. The land transportation, which is predominantly done by Ministry of Works because of the Highway Act. But we have the element that has to do with the ECOWAS protocols and all that. And then we supervise, we make some of the policies on land transportation. Like we said last time, that we will encourage that those who construct through other state or federal government should put this in for bicycle, those who use bicycle, so that Nigerians can live a healthy life. I think I'm done. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
No, okay, you still use it. He will still use it. The Honorable Minister dwelt a lot on, of course, the rail project and the seaports. You must have noticed that he did not dwell on the politics of it. He went straight to the project, what's involved, what he's doing, when it will be finished. So please, in firing your questions, also restrict yourself to the projects. Let's leave the politics out of it.
I will respond the way you like it. I don't believe in ethnic politics, I swear. Please keep it to yourself.
Tony,
Thank you, Honorable Minister. My name is Tony Ailemen. I write for Business Day.
Go ahead. Go ahead, I'll still remember.
Okay. So, my question has to do with the issue of having qualified Nigerians to play certain roles in the sector. Nigeria has a policy that wants to promote local content, and as part of federal government policy of job creation and strengthening the economy. So if Nigerians, or how do you intend to factor in this local content policy into your program and also ensure that Nigerians play a major role? Because at the end of the day, when the Chinese are out, it falls back to Nigerians to manage it. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, my name is Dr. Anule Emmanuel. I write for AFP.
You write for who?
AFP. AFP. You said there are operations on the Apapa-Ebute-Metta rail alignment has been stopped because of discoveries of soil nature in a particular area. Honestly, I'm asking you, for projects of this nature, I'm sure feasibility studies are always done. Was this discovered? Is it a fault from the contractor, or is it a fault from government? And who bears the cost? And how much is government going to spend on this particular area? Thank you.
Good morning, Gloria Omezeke from Canals TV. Much as Nigerians appreciate infrastructure, on ground.
I can't hear you. Take off your mask, please.
My name is Gloria Omezeke from Channel Television. Much as Nigerians appreciate the infrastructure on ground and how the federal government is, intensifying efforts to put this in place, concerns are mounting over how much vandals are, disintegrating efforts, the federal government's efforts so far. What is the strategy in place to curb this? Because if we have infrastructure in place and then vandals are disempowering the government's effort, how are we certain, we're going to enjoy the benefits of this in the long run? Thank you.
My name is Felix Onwa. Currently, government is in talks with Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered Bank.
How do you know?
I've said it. Felix of Reuters. Felix Onwa, Reuters. The government is currently having talks with Standard Chartered over a loan up to $14.4 billion. And this money were monies you were expecting from Chinese banks that didn't come. Why now trying to replace some of these funds you were expecting from China? You are now sourcing for a different fund, from the China source. And then I would like to know some of these projects you intend to execute with this different funds you are sourcing from others, like Europe, other from the Chinese bank. I know why you are replacing some of these Chinese loans.
Are you from China? Well, I can take the phone. Okay, let's do the last question. I don't think we should, okay, no, this is a formality. I want to use this thing. I don't think it should bother you who will get the money from. As a Christian, the only person I won't take money from is Satan. Another person. But it's not also true that these are funds that Chinese have not given to us. No. The only loan we have negotiated with the Chinese government or China Exim Bank that is yet to come is Ibadan to Kano. Port Harcourt Maiduguri, right? Went to a Chinese company, but they were yet to we were yet to apply for a loan when we discovered that Europe has opened up and Europe is willing to allow us borrow from them. So we quickly went to Standard Chartered Bank, right? And that's $3.020 billion. And my position now is whatever is in my budget, can I start funding? Oh, whatever I have, can I start funding for my budget? At any point in time, they get the loan. Then it is, you will deduct what I have put in so that Nigeria does not have to bear all the costs. From loan. So the interest, take for instance, the way I'm pursuing, and I'm doing like a native man. The way I'm pursuing Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, and Kano-Kaduna is, look, I think I paid about 13 billion naira for Port Harcourt Maiduguri. And I'm about to pay another 10. If I get it to 50, haven't I paid? I'm using the black market rate. I don't know what they pay in CBN. If I pay up to 50, it's not $100 million. So it will now be 2.9. It will no longer be $3.020 billion. You get it, man? And I continue to do that until I leave, until we finish the construction. Take Kano-Kaduna. Kano-Kaduna is $1.2 billion. I have paid $280 million already, right? If I pay $280 million, how much is remaining? No, if it's 1.2 now, so what's remaining will be 900 and something million. If I pay another $100 million in the next few weeks, 800 and something million. So if I consider that way, by the end of this next year to early next year, I would have probably paid between $500 and $600 million. So what you may likely be borrowing will be about $500 or $600, $700 million. That I'm doing to make sure that we don't leave too much debt behind. If we can have the money, discipline ourselves to spend what we have. So we're waiting for the Chinese for only Ibadan to Kano. We're borrowing, and that's the big question we need to ask ourselves. If the Chinese don't turn up in the next few months, why shouldn't we approach the European banks to fund Ibadan to Kano? And I will put that before the Minister of Finance. The Standard Chartered has accepted to fund Lagos. We're negotiating with them. Lagos, Calabar. We're negotiating Port Harcourt, Maiduguri. I think and then they're not funding Kano-Maradi. Kano-Maradi is funded by Credit Suisse. Okay, so I've answered. That's the question you raised, and I've answered that. We're just looking for money. We look for money from everybody, excluding Satan, because I'm a Christian. Vandals, and I'll give you this example, Gloria. When I was governor, I was so angry with Nigerians. You know how much it cost? Road construction of 10 billion naira. 4 billion is for the road. Do you know where 6 billion is going? What do you call that on the middle? Median. Do you know why Nigerians put median? So that Nigerians won't drive across. There is no reason for you to put a median. And if you put a median, you must put drainage. Which costs, so you're paying for lawlessness. Catch the idiot and put him in jail and save Nigeria 6 billion naira. You get the point? So the reason now, and I find it, I get very angry because now we have to look for money to now begin to look for drones, to now to look for technology so that we can stop the criminal. Or first see him. When you see him, then you have to pay or get police to respond quickly. But if they don't respond quickly, the guy could have finished and gone. So we are not going to pay extra costs for enforcement of law and order. That's why up to now I've not made a decision. What do we do? The only one I've made a decision is those who are stealing the clips. Like Kaduna, Abuja. Over 15,000 clips have been stolen. And it was replaced daily. So what people don't know is that before the train runs in the morning, people will take a walk from beginning of Kaduna, Abuja. We pay people from different villages. They have to take a walk to know where they have stolen clips. And we must replace so that you don't get a situation where the train can derail. And you're doing that because some people are stealing the listen. That's why some of these harsh laws you see is to curb some of these excesses. So what we are doing is, okay, we are fixing the clips, we are paying, every day we are paying for clips, we are buying clips, we are fixing it. And they're not made in Nigeria. If they are made in Nigeria, it's okay, it's growing the economy because we are going to market to buy it. They are bought overseas. So you buy them in dollars. Now, that one I'm thinking, the solution, we found the solution to that. What is the solution? That's what they call anti-theft clips. But they are more expensive, 3 times more expensive than this one. And it's better than buying this. Well, this one will be like, how old is it? Is it £1 foolish or what? Pennywise pound foolish. Because that's what's happening in Kaduna. You were looking for something cheap, and then at the end of the day, it's more expensive than what we are trying to do, what we've approved they should do in Lagos Ibadan. They also bought these cheap clips, and I said, no, stop. Go and replace it. So they are replacing Lagos Ibadan. Lagos Ibadan will be anti-theft, and all other construction will be anti-theft. Anti-theft, you can't open it, you can't remove it, it will be permanently there. But we need to now go back to Abuja, Kaduna, and change it to anti-theft clips. But I don't know. I have to ask. I'm not a... See, the minister is not... I like what people do. When train breaks down, instead of an RCMD, they send it in to me. Continue to send it until it gets to the minister. The minister does not run an RC. there's an MD of an RC. I have to find out how much they spend, but it's quite expensive. And we really have to make a decision and pay for it now, for them to change to anti-theft clip in Kaduna, Abuja. I don't know why we have not made that decision, because we should have made this when we discovered that we've replaced over 10 to 15,000 clips for the 6 years we'll sit here. So for the vandals, I think it's not just enough to put, we're negotiating with experts in technology for as our response, but it's not enough. I think the law should deal with those who break it. The law should not be quiet. And I don't know what the law says, but the Chinese company that was arrested for buying those tracks, they got away with 200-something thousand naira fine. I think the law should do much more than that. In fact, we'll caught a Chinese company in Jos buying from them. Then the next few months, we arrested the Chinese man with other people at Nasarawa, got him directly. So that's what we have. That's the issue of vandals. The other issue is who discovered the soil, who will pay for it. That's the question from the AFP man. If they ask me again, what do you want to be after Minister for Transport? I will say Minister for Transport. The job is enjoyable in the sense that when you go, and I'll give an example. I say it's enjoyable. We go to Apapa, and that's why you respect engineers. And when we go to Apapa, if you see pipes, some were nobody knew who owns the pipe. Some were not, no identity, nothing. We don't even know the depth of the pipes. We don't know what. We went to an MPC. We didn't find a solution. When they found a solution, we had to get a company. It wasn't part of the contract from Italy. You see why you must get professional engineers. Team, not us. Team, as I say, I enjoyed it. So I will sit like this at Chairman of the meeting. You will see debate, China, CCCC. They were debating until they came to a conclusion. What was the conclusion? There's a particular type of equipment they have to bring from Italy. Team said, I'll get the equipment. The equipment will come here and identify all the pipes, no matter how deep it is. So that's the first thing we did. We identified all the pipes, all. So we went to an NPC. They said, if you touch these pipes, you shut down Nigeria. And we were to survey them to build our track. And they said, no, you will shut down the country. And then, what problem? If you build on the track, on the pipes, you burst the pipe. So we got another team from Italy that came with another technology that helped us to lay the track after civil works on top of, the civil work was on top of the pipes before we laid the tracks on it without any impact on the pipes, right? So when you do feasibility studies, it does not give you the minute details. It does not tell you, here, there was a refuse. You won't know until you get to that point, right? Now, when we go to that point, both the Chinese company and the supervising engineers saw it, but felt it was 3 meters, so they covered. They removed 3 meters and covered. When they finished construction, they began to see depression at that spot. Then they did further investigation. It is the further investigation I told them, it is not just 3 meters, it's 10 meters. And then we had finished, we were rushing to commission, and then they confronted me with politicians. We are finished as engineers. Now this is political decision. If you hide this thing, in the name of commissioning, you pay for it in 2-3 years. You can slow down, don't commission till January next year. I'm a politician, am I not? As a politician, the contract they have is actually a booted metal to Ibadan. No, nobody, most Nigerians don't remember that the contract awarded to CCCC was a booted metal to, that's the contract. It's Buhari that came and said, no, what kind of contract is this? All our rail tracks must end at the seaport. So please commission a booted metal to Lagos. When we finish a booted metal to Apapa, we'll commission tuna. If that's what you want. But the truth is, so let's commission a booted metal, which is the actual contract, and slow down, it's not commission, we won't commission apart to a booted metal again, but business activities may not commence on the booted metal until we excavate 10 meters of that soil and replace it, and it will take more than 2-3 months. Then we'll begin to carry cargoes from the seaport. That's why we said we will commission the NIMASA program inside the seaport so that you will see that we got to the seaport. Not tomorrow night you say no, there was nothing like that. They didn't get to the seaport. So we beg the president that they should come to Apapa Seaport and commission the NIMASA project so that whole Nigerians will see that we didn't get to Butemeta and we trekked to the seaport, or we used a car to the seaport. We used train. In fact, this Friday, I will use train to the seaport. So I know we are running. But then I will make a decision that Friday to say, shut down this train and excavate that point close to the Papa station and remove the refuse. Because the refuse soil is not a good soil. I hope you know. It continues to depress if you put weight on it. And the weight you're going to carry is not just passenger weight. If it's passenger, we will still leave it. But you're going to carry cargo from there to Ibadan. That's the guy who asked, who discovered it. Who will pay for it is part of the contract. We're not asking government for more money. It's going to be part of the contract. Local content policy. It's a very difficult one. In fact, I've had my fight with Nigerian engineers on it. The first time I was a bit radical in saying, look, if you're not qualified, you're not qualified. Then later, in the course of my study, of how most countries developed in railways, I discovered that they must bring in their own people. You don't bring in your own people, then you don't progress. Because at a time, you must ask the Chinese to go. You must ask the Italians to go. For me, what did I do? The first thing I did was to take about 300 Nigerians to China to go and study. And the argument the Nigerian engineers make to me is that there is no particular engineering called railway engineering. That is either mechanical, civil, and the Chinese, I shouldn't mind them. That's just what they call railway engineering. That the bridge you build for railway is not the same bridge you build for road. They agree that it's bridge, but that it's not the same. The technology is not the same. And then, so we agreed to send 300 Nigerians to go and study in China. They are there, they are studying. When they come back, we introduce them, we'll just absorb them into an ROC, we employ them. So they can make work for us. I felt that's not enough. The Chinese won't agree, and the Chinese paid for it. The Chinese won't agree to be every day training our people. So we said, okay to them, look, go to Nigeria, build for us a university. And they say, where will they get the money from? I said, just assume that I want to take bribe from you. Will you be honest that you won't give me up to $100 million bribe? They couldn't answer. And I said, okay, so just assume that I want bribe. Take that bribe and build a university for us. And so they have been invested at Daura for $50 million. Right? At the time they are building it, 18 billion naira. Now $50 million must be about 25, right? I'm a village man. I'm calculating based on black market. I don't know what they do CBN. So they are building a university. Now, let me tell you the agreement. I did that. I'm sure the Chinese were celebrating when we finished our first term. They believe I won't come back as minister. You can ask them. When I came back, well, they moved out of sight in Lagos, Ibadan. They moved out of sight. Once they announced me as minister, without even asking a portfolio, they rushed back to sight. Now, Lagos, the university at Maiduguri, they agreed to reach with them in writing. You will teach us. you hire teachers, English-speaking Chinese. You manage this university for 5 years and teach us for 5 years, after which you exit, we'll take over. Ministry of Transport will take over Ministry of Education, because we will spend the money to run university. We don't want to be part of these Nigerian university things when they don't have money, they don't have chemicals. No. This university is a specialized university. The idea is, let us train, because what I saw in South Africa is that they are producing their own locomotives. Okay, they are producing their own coaches, certain. They are producing their own locomotive, but they buy a lot of other spare parts from other parts of the world, including France. Now, I asked China how they got their technology, railway technology, and they told me clearly. They brought in, what do you call this company? A railway company in America, and gave them contract with Ford, even car, and said, produce 15% in Nigeria, in America. 85% must be produced in China. And they began to understudy them. That's why if you see the contrast we did in the wagons we are buying. We said produce 15% in China, assemble 85% in Nigeria. So they are building a factory at Kajola. I'm discussing local content, I will get to the one you're asking. So now, if they are building a factory in Kajola, and we sign an agreement that we'll be buying from them, I said, well, you don't have a problem. Why do I have to spend dollars when I can buy in Naira in Nigeria? Then you can change, it's up to you to change your money and send to your country. But here, I will buy in Naira. So they're building the factory, and I hope that by December we should be able to commission that factory. And I've told them they have to hurry, because they've supplied us 15% of the wagons. They need to supply us 85. And that 85 will be assembled in Nigeria, in Kajola. I hope that whoever takes over from me as Minister for Transport will know that another component to that agreement, the component that after 5 years, you will now begin to manufacture here, no longer assembly. You get the point? All that is to localize the railway technology. So there's a university in Daura to teach our children. There is Kajola. Again, don't forget, it's not part of the contract too. It's also, I've also forced them to invest their own money, because to do Lagos-Ibadan, $2 billion, nearly 1 trillion naira in your pocket, and you will not want to spend something here, you're wasting your time, man. So they agreed, they are building the factory for assembling of wagons. They've also agreed in writing that after 5 years, they will start, instead of assembling, they will start producing. Then they will graduate from there to building a factory to produce locomotives and coaches and spare parts. Let me tell you, they think we are finished. We have not finished. I'll sit them down, because we have not negotiated for Lagos, Calabar. If they think they will just take that money and go, they're wasting their time. We will see. Let them tell us what they will. I'm not thinking what they contribute from that money they will get for Lagos to Calabar. I'm thinking that shouldn't we build another factory for locomotives and coaches somewhere in the south, because they insist that it must be close to water, to the ocean. So either come to Port Harcourt, or go to Calabar, or go to Akwa Ibom, or go to Delta. Because if we say, I must go to where there's ocean in Delta, there's ocean in, even Bayelsa, there's ocean in Port Harcourt, there's ocean in Calabar and Akwa Ibom. But I've not sat down with them. I need to sit down with them to negotiate that. I'm also thinking that we need to take, because for me, this crime you're seeing, insecurity, is not, nobody was born to be a thief or an armed robber or a kidnapper. It's hunger. The more jobs we create, the more persons you bring out of the insecurity market. So I'm looking at what we can send to between Zaria and Kano from them as their own contribution. I'm just looking at that, and trust me, I'll sit down with them to achieve that before the end of the year. Then I think that's the final question, is it? That's the final question. But the one you're talking about, it will be difficult to just bring in the Nigerian engineers to supervise railway. The reason why it will be difficult is that if it is poorly supervised and there's an accident, don't call Amaechi. You know, I told President one thing. I told President about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said, Mr. President, you know, nobody remembers who is the Minister for Transport under Babangida. How many of you remember? You see, everybody's quiet. How many people remember Minister for Transport under Abacha? It's difficult. But if they ask you now, I said to Mr. President, nobody will remember me. All these noise you heard, nobody will remember. If Buhari built what? Railway. So if there's an accident, nobody will call me. So, since Buhari, cheap railways, very cheap. Nobody will call me. Well, if I like, I can jump to Kano by air, by swim to Kano, do anything I like. It is Buhari. See the poor railway Buhari built, it has spoiled. And like now, I'm praising him. I hope you know that. Oh, Lagos Ibadan. I told myself, God, this praise, if one mistake happens, the way these people will turn around, they will be shocked. so let's enjoy it with a bit of this thing. So for me, I don't mind bringing Nigerians. I swear, I need Nigerians to know how to, not just the knowledge, the money we're spending should also be localized. I need it. I'm not joking. So what have we done? We've asked them to identify some local content in a contract, which they will award to Nigerians. But man, I doubt that if Nigerians are not experienced in supervising, I will not give because of lives. That I will not give. But I've asked, under the directive of the President, he has given me a written approval that they should show us the local content and award it to Nigerian subcontractors. I've answered the 4 questions. Who is that? That chairman? Don't stop my chairman. Ask anything like. You're late. You're late. You're late. I said in 2 weeks' time. Any other question? Because today is the day I have to go to the office and work. Okay, sir.
I appreciate the Minister for Transportation for coming to grace this press briefing. And let me also thank the members of the Presidential Communication Team who put this together for the good work you do week after week. It's also my pleasure to welcome the aides of the Minister. Dave, our old friend, good to see you again after years. Israel. Israel, you're welcome, and our dear lady, you're also welcome. So, thank you, Minister. We are glad that you came, and any other time we require your presence, we hope you always oblige us. Thank you very much. Thank you.